I'll be speaking on the deception of eating. The deception of eating. You know, as good as food is, as good as eating is, that can be the reason some will not become a blessing to their generation. As good as eating is, you need to eat at least to keep your body good, to keep your body in a safe condition, to keep your body in a healthy condition. But as good as food is, that can be the reason some people will never be spiritual. That can also be the reason some students have been failing, and it almost look like the devil is after them. Most of the time, the demand of God may not even be as hard as we think. That's the truth. Most of the times, the demand of God may not be as hard as we think. If you can love, you know, if you can love God the same way you love food, you may even be surprised at the level of spiritual improvement you will see in your life. Sometimes what God demands is simple. Love me the same way you love food. That's all. There are some of us that if we can love God the same way we love our food, of course we will do well. We will do well. There are some of us that if we can love God the same way we love sleep, we will do well. Can you see how simple the demand is? So sometimes we think that the demand is very high. To be spiritual, I will need to do this. I will do this, do this, do this. It's very high. Let me just be normal like this. Of course, no. No, you need to understand that sometimes the demands of God for our life is very simple. It's even more simple than what we think, than the picture we have. Sometimes, for some of us, God is saying, if you can love me the same way you love food, if you can love me the same way you love sleep, there are some people they can sleep on a rope. If they stand, they will just lean on the wall and they are already sleeping. Some people, if they sit, while resting their back on the chair, they are gone. There's no how. Some people, if you ask them to go on their knees, while on their knees they are sleeping. They are so comfortable with sleeping, but yet they are not comfortable with spiritual things. God is speaking to somebody right now. God is talking to somebody listening to me right now. If you can love God the same way you love food, there are some people they can eat 5 times in a day, even more than that. They are just eating. Everything is going to their mouth. That same love you have for food, if you can give God the same degree of love, you won't believe the transformation you will see in your life. You won't believe it. It is to some people when you say fast, when you say it is fasting time, it's just like you have told them to go and die. When you say fast, what they will hear is die, because to them fasting is an impossible exercise. So if you call them to fast, what they will hear is different from what you are saying. So you will just discover that their mood will change. Go and fast to them is the same thing as go and die. Meanwhile, when we say fast, have we asked you to die? Of course, no. We have asked you to feed your spirit. Fasting fattens the spirit. Fasting fattens the spirit. So fasting makes your spirit fatter. It nourishes your spirit. Every spiritual thing you do add nutrients to your spirit. So it will be abnormal for you to be physically fit, and yet your spirit is not is not spiritually fit. To be wrong for you to be physically fit, and yet your spirit is not spiritually fit. If you are healthy physically, your spirit should also be healthy spiritually. So fasting fattens the spirit. Every spiritual exercise we engage in add nourishment to our spirit. I hope you get what I'm saying. There is a deception in sleep, and there's a deception in eating. That's why you discover that you eat every day, and yet you are still eating. Why? All those things you are eating, food itself is a deception. When you are hungry, you feel like you will die. You will die. If you don't eat, you will die. After eating, what happens? As a matter of fact, if you now eat the food excessively, you still start feeling pain. You start feeling uncomfortable. Can you see how life is? But when you were hungry, you feel like you will die. If you don't eat, you will just die. And when you get the food, you will eat it in excess because you don't want to die. And now, after eating, the same food your body is requesting for, after eating it, you feel uncomfortable. Have you discovered that sometimes when you eat, after eating, you just feel so tired that you go and sleep? That's deception. There's also another deception in sleep. Yes. You want to pray in the night, but the sleep will not let you rest. So you say, okay, let me sleep a bit. After sleeping, and you wake, you still feel like sleeping. Have you discovered that you sleep every day? You sleep every day, but the question is, do you pray every day? You eat 3 times in a day. Do you pray 3 times in a day? Can you say that? For some of us, I repeat again, if we can love God the same way we love sleep, if we can love God the same way we love food, we will be spiritual. As a matter of fact, we will be a source of major blessing to our generation. You sleep every night. Do you pray every night? You eat 3 times a day. Do you pray 3 times a day? You talk every day. Do you talk to God every day? You talk to men every day. Do you talk to God every day? That's it. That's it. So we need to understand that some of these things that we think is normal is a deception. It's a deception. So you feel like if you don't do it, you will die. But you discover that without them, you can survive. I remember when God told me it's time to fast. And I fasted for 200 and something days. But the first day I felt like I would die. Because I had to break the fast every day by 7 p.m. in the night. I thought I would die. But at the long run, I was enjoying the exercise. I was enjoying it. So some of the things you think you cannot survive without are things you can really survive without. You think you cannot do without eating. You can do without it. It's just deception that makes it looks as though your life is tied to those things. It's not true. Until you are ready to discipline your body, you will not be relevant on earth. Relevance has to do with, relevance is linked to the degree of your discipline. I pray the Lord will help you in the name of Jesus. Please understand all these things. Some of those things we think are normal things are actually deception. You sleep in the afternoon, you still sleep in the night again. You still sleep in the morning. What is it? Is your life about sleeping? Is it about sleeping? There is a deception in sleep. That's why you discover that when you just put your head on the pillow, you feel like you are already in heaven. You feel so good and you feel like you are comfortable. You feel that's the peak of life. But when it is time to pray, you feel like you are about to die. You feel like this is dying time. It's a deception. Those things are biological deception. But the Lord will give you grace to overcome all these deceptions in the name of Jesus.